Yeah, hello folks, welcome back to the channel. I've finally done it after my umpteenth playthrough of Final Fantasy IX. I've earned the Movie Critic trophy. So that's the trophy where you have to view 79 active time events on a single save file. Now I'm going to guide you through exactly how I did this. I've recorded my entire playthrough and I've edited it down just for the relevant matters into a 35-minute video showing how you can go through each area and not miss any of these ATEs. And trust me, you do need to pay attention because I've gone for this so many times and failed because I've messed up somewhere along the line that's why I decided to dedicate an entire playthrough just for this trophy. Now you won't have to do that, okay? If you keep this video open in the background, perhaps you're going through the game and doing everything else that there is to do in the game as well, then just bear in mind that when you enter a new area to try and pay attention to these ATEs first and foremost, and then watch the relevant part of this video so you can see how to get them before doing everything else that it is that you want to do. Now, in terms of formatting, I've split the video up into timestamps so that you can skip ahead to the area you want to watch the ATEs for and how to get them. And I've also listed them down the left-hand side of the screen, with those listed in white being missable ATEs and those listed in green being ATEs that are technically mandatory. But even though some of them are mandatory, they won't actually play unless you've done some kind of prerequisite earlier on. But I'll talk about all of that as we get into the video. So here it is, guys. I'm calling this my ultimate video guide to the Movie Critic trophy in Final Fantasy IX. A lot of editing was involved to try and get this video as short as possible. So I hope it's helpful to you guys. And let's get started. Kicking things off then, once we make our way to the Evil Forest on Disc 1, we will be introduced to the ATE system for the first time with a forced ATE called the Forest Keeper, which is going to play when we first leave the crashed ship. Now, once we've gone ahead and finished the Forest Keeper, we're going to make our way through the Evil Forest, and once we get back to the crashed ship, we're going to be greeted by a bunch of non-mandatory ATEs, so these are missable. The first of which is called Time to Escape, so make sure you watch that one. And once that's finished, you can watch Girl Who Was Left Behind, which is also going to give us access to our next ATE, My Little Baby. So a collection of 3 there, which can all be played together. Once we've done that and we make our way back out into the Evil Forest, our next ATE is going to be Orchestra in the Forest. Again, that is missable. And then we have 3 more ATEs to complete in this section. However, all of these are mandatory. The first of these 3 is Do As I Say, Not As I Do. And once we've done that, done all the forest stuff and are about to leave, the Moogle is going to give us Teach Me Mogster Lesson 1. Now, you can actually skip all the tutorials in this ATE. Once we leave the Evil Forest completely and make our way over to the Ice Cavern, we will be able to reach this room where we can free another Moogle using Vivi's Fire. This is all part of the story, so again, this is mandatory. And we'll be able to watch the final ATE of this section, which is Teach Me Mogster Lesson 2. Again, a tutorial, so we can skip those once we played the ATE if we wish. Once all 8 ATEs have been watched, I recommend making a new save file before the next section. So the village of Dali will give us our next 6 active time events, and we're just going to head into the inn to proceed the story. There we're going to just stay the night, and when we get up in the morning, the ATE trigger will begin and we can start with Vivi Confused. Now, the second ATE, which is Dagger Tries, is also available but then disappears, but if we head into the next room, it will become available to us again. So both of these are missable, so make sure you watch them. And then once we've finished Dagger Tries, we're going to head outside to the main square, where the ATE marker will pop up again, this time with the ATE Cat's Eye. Nice easy one, and then take us back into the inn afterwards, where Dagger Tries Harder will become available. Okay, 4 down, 2 to go. Once we've finished in the inn, we can head over to the weapons shop, where we can have a scene with Dagger. This is important because it's going to be able to trigger the next ATE. So once we've finished that scene, we're going to actually head up north in the square towards Vivi, and that will trigger a scene with him. You may have watched this earlier, that's fine. Once we've finished our scene with Vivi, head back into the square, and then that will trigger our next ATE. This one is Cat's Eye 2, another missable ATE, so make sure you do watch this one. And once we've finished with that ATE, head back into the inn and speak to Dagger for yet another scene. And this will lead to our 6th and final ATE, Queen Bronze Steiner. Our next set of ATEs are during Lindblum of Disc 1. Now, once we first arrive at Lindblum, we're going to have a whole bunch of story to get through. Eventually, Zidane will wake up in the inn, and after a chat with Vivi, we're going to be forced into an ATE, which is Teach Me, Mogster, my first synthesis lesson. This is another tutorial, and we can go ahead and skip the actual tutorial itself. Once we leave the inn, we can begin our next ATE, which is Small Town Night in a Big City. And once we finish with that, just head over to the right into the air cab, and that will kick off a mandatory Vivi shopping ATE. All good so far. We're then going to use the air cab to take us to the theatre district. And once we arrive at the theatre district, we want to leave the air cab terminal. And as soon as we do that, we'll be able to trigger our next ATE, which is simply called Steam Engine. Okay, 4 down, 2 to go for this region. After Steam Engine, we're going to head down towards the Tantalus hideout, and simply by going into the Tantalus hideout, we're going to kick off another cutscene, which is going to lead into another mandatory ATE called What Can I Do? After this ATE, there's a little bit of another cutscene, and then simply head outside to trigger the final ATE, Baku and his crew. Well done so far, folks. So, all of the ATEs before Treno are now done. However, there are a couple of prerequisites before Treno we are going to want to do. And if we don't do these, we will be locked out of ATEs that should be available later on. The first of the things we want to do is recruit Quina. Now, the game isn't going to force us to do this until later, but you do need to do this now, otherwise you will miss out on the ATE trophy, even though there's no ATEs for doing this at the moment. So, go ahead to the marsh once we've left Lindblum by the Dragon's Gate, and just speak to this frog here, capture it, give it to Quina, get Quina in the party. That's the first prerequisite done. The second thing takes place after Gizmaluke's grotto. Once we head into Burmecia, we are going to want to save the family. Now, this is an optional step, but it is not optional if you want this ATE trophy, since it will lock you out of an ATE later if you don't do this. Now, once you've got the bell, all you need to do before heading up these steps is go through the big door here, and that will take you to the family, and a cutscene will automatically play out. You don't need to do anything, just make sure you do get that cutscene, otherwise, as I say, you'll miss out on another ATE. But we don't need to worry about anything else now for ATEs until we get to Treno, so I'll see you there. Welcome to Treno, where we will have access to 7 ATEs. We need to do all of them, and everyone is missable. So because this is the trickiest of all the ATE locations so far, I'm going to go ahead and do this at normal speed so that hopefully I can explain my path a little bit more clearly. And you will need to follow my path, because if you go to any of the areas that trigger story cutscenes, that can actually and will actually lock you out of some of these ATEs. So be very careful in this area. As always, make sure you save before doing anything. Right, now at the start you're going to gain control of Steiner, and the first thing you want to do is go ahead and play the first ATE, which is Treno Tradition. Now, once you've gone ahead and finished with Treno Tradition, you're going to head over to the left side, and that's just going to be following Dagger. And once you do that, you'll be able to watch the next ATE, which is called Pursuit. And then once Pursuit has finished, you're going to continuing to follow Dagger's path, and that will give you access to the ATE menu once more, and you can watch Confusion. Now, once you've finished with Confusion, you're going to head over towards the card stadium, and the ATEs will trigger. You're going to want to select Ambition. And once Ambition has finished, go back to the entrance of Treno, but follow the exact path you took to get here in the first place. Okay, if you continue across from the card stadium, you will lose access to these ATEs because you'll trigger story instead. Now, from the entrance, you're going to head over to the right-hand side, and here you will be able to play Meeting Place. Only after playing Meeting Place is it safe then to proceed to the top of the screen, and in the next area, the next ATE will become available, which is Unexpected Visitor. This is the second to final ATE for Treno. The final ATE is going to be quite a bit later on, so all the stuff you want to do in Treno story, any optional content, do now. And then once you've met up with Dr. Tot, that is where I'll meet up with you as well. So Totty Boy is going to bring you into Gargan Rue here by leading you down this ladder. Once he does that, you'll have a little bit of dialogue. Now, before you actually proceed any further into this place, go back up the ladder and out of Dr. Tot's tower, because that is when you're going to trigger the final ATE, which is called Crime and Punishment. Next up is Cleyra's settlement, and this is why we needed to recruit Quina early. If you don't have Quina in the party at this point, 2 of these ATEs will not be possible to watch. Now, when you first get to the settlement, you'll be given the option of a tour. Doesn't matter if you do that or not. Once you get control of Zidane, just head up into the next area, and you'll be able to watch the first ATE, No Yummy Yummies. All 4 of these are missable, by the way, but they are very easy to get, and you can do them in multiple orders. After No Yummy Yummies, I tend to head just into this screen to watch the first of 2 VV ATEs for this area, Don't Hate Me. After that, I'll head back and then head up the right-hand set of steps, and that will lead into the next area and another 2 ATEs, the final 2 ATEs, in fact, and we can simply watch both whilst in this area. I haven't hurt anyone, and there is a mushroom. Doesn't matter what order you watch these in. That's it for this area, 4 ATEs, but as I say, 2 of those will not be shown if you did not get Quina. As long as you did, no problems. In terms of ATEs, you can relax a little bit because you won't be getting another one for a while. So go through all of the story, and eventually you will be rescuing Dagger from Alexandria. And once you've done that, you will be forced into watching an ATE called Friendship. Soon after, the story will force us back to Lindblum, so once we get here, we want to just head north to the final square, and that will kick off a series of cutscenes which will eventually see us back in the final square with control of Zidane. Once this happens, make sure you head out of this screen, as that will trigger the first of 3 ATEs and the only missable one in this area. It is called the Third Duel. Once we've watched that, go ahead and speak to the man back into the previous area to carry on with the story, and that will eventually force us to watch Bran's fleet arrives, and then following that we will be forced to watch Guac Guac How Infuriating, and that's 3 ATEs for Lindblum. Now, when you progress to Conde Petie, that's when our next 5 ATEs will become available. Now, all of these are missable, and actually quite easily missable, so we're going to go through this process quite slowly, just do exactly what I do here. After the opening cutscenes, once we find ourselves in the entrance of the town, we'll be able to begin our first ATE, which is called VV and the Couple. Once that's finished, we're just going to actually just head left, and that will give us access to our next ATE, which is Quina Accused. Once we finish that, we're going to head left again. We'll be going into the inn, and once in here, we'll be able to access our third ATE, which is Quina Can't Communicate. Now, once we finish Quina Can't Communicate, we're going to head right, all the way over to the right, until we're in the final corridor here, and that will give us access to Dagger and William. One more ATE to go for this area then, and to do this we're just going to head right. That will take us into the item shop, and here we'll find some stairs. And up the stairs here, we'll find VV. If we speak to VV, we'll get a small cutscene, followed by that final ATE. Make sure you do create a new save file once more before heading into Black Mage Village. The 6 ATEs here can be missed easily. Now, we have a little pathing puzzle before we actually get to the village itself. And in order to solve this, it's fairly simple. Just start by heading over to the right here. And once you appear at the bottom, go over to the right-hand side again. You'll then find Zidane appearing at the top left. Go back up that top left path. And then from the bottom, from the top here, head back around to the right. And that will bring you into the village proper. So then, after the initial set of cutscenes, we can watch the first ATE, which is Everyday Life, a nice easy one. And once that's finished, we're going to head up the little set of stairs just to our right here. And if we take the right-hand path into the next area, the second ATE that we're going to watch is called Life on the Run. Now, after Life on the Run, we're going to head into the shop, but we're going to take this back entrance, and we're just going to go all the way through it and out the other side, and that will bring up the ATE menu for us once more, and we're going to choose to watch Gorman's Nose. Next up, just very slowly walk past the door on the left hand side, and that will force us into the different languages ATE. After that, just head into the cemetery on the left, and then the next ATE we're going to select is Visitor, Not Invader. And finally, to finish up, head back to the previous screen, and if you go into the first building here, this is the synthesis shop. Inside we'll find Dagger along with a bit of a cutscene, and once that cutscene's finished, don't leave the shop until you've watched that final ATE. You need to go and complete one more ATE over in Conde. Petie. This is an interesting one because it's technically a forced one, but it's also missable. So, you want to just proceed with the story once more until you get to the point where Zidane and Dagger are getting married. Now, after this, you're going to have a choice of dialogue. And it's very important that you go ahead and select, why don't you guys get married too? Again, if you don't select that option, the ATE will not play. You will not be able to get the trophy. So, again, it's, why don't you guys get married too? And that will play the next ATE, which is simply called Nuptial Joy. After making your way through the mountain path, you will end up at Madain Sari, where we can encounter another 5 ATEs. So go through the opening cutscenes, and in the fountain area, you should be able to select Vivi's Feelings ATE. Once you've gone ahead and watched that, you want to head towards the Eidolon wall, towards the upper right, and then the next ATE to watch will be Dagger's Feelings. Once you finish with that, head back to the fountain area, and a forced ATE will eventually play Aiko's Feelings. After Aiko's Feelings, head over to the left hand side. There will be a brief cutscene with Vivi, followed by a brief cutscene with a Moogle as you try and enter the kitchen. Once that's finished, head back to the fountain area, and you should be able to watch the next ATE, Aiko's Kitchen. After Aiko's Kitchen, there is one more to go. Head back over to the Eidolon wall, where you can speak to the Moogle. Once you've done this, head back to the entrance of Madain Sari and recruit Dagger back into the party. With Dagger, go back to the Eidolon wall, speak to the Moogle, kicking off another cutscene, and once you leave this area, the final ATE, Aiko's Kitchen 2, will play. The next time you have to worry about ATEs is when you take control of Vivi in Alexandria. And straight away, I just head over to the left here in order to activate the Long Time No See ATE. And then once we've gone ahead and watched that, I just head all the way back over to the right and we can trigger the It's So Big ATE. Oh, and by the way, additional note, if you haven't yet earned the Track Star Trophy, this is your one time to do so whilst we're in control of Vivi. So speak to Hippel's mother here just on the left in order to get started with that. But back to our ATEs, if you just keep heading through Alexandria to the left and then up north towards the main square, you'll be able to trigger the next two. Well, actually, you can only trigger one at a time, of course. So we're going to go ahead and start with To Fly High. And then the second can be triggered immediately after, so make sure you do both before proceeding any further. Now, we are about to move on, but just take this as another warning that this is your final opportunity to get that Hippel Racing Trophy. So don't head over into this next screen and speak to Blank until you've gone ahead and done that if you haven't already. But when you are ready, speak to Blank and that will proceed with the story until the next ATE, which will happen once Vivi and Zidane are back as a party, the two of them together. And to get the ATE, which is called I Forgot to Show Up, simply leave the bar, the pub here, and it will appear. And then finally, you have a ton more story to get through, which will eventually lead to our only forced ATE in Alexandria on this visit, which is Clowns on a Dark Night. And that's all of them done. We can move back over to Treno next. Yeah, so back in Treno, as soon as the cutscenes are over, our first ATE will become available. Just the moment we are in control of Zidane, and it is Aiko Talks Life. Now, after we've watched that, just head into the next area, and the next ATE, how he ended up here, will become available. This one's a little bit more important because there's a choice to make, a dialogue choice during this ATE, and that dialogue choice is stop by at home or stay in Treno. Now, which of those we choose doesn't ultimately matter. It's just that each one will lead to a different ATE in a little while. Now, I've selected stay in Treno, and that's because the ATE that leads to is a little bit less buggy in my experience than the ATE for stop by at home. Now, a few people have had issues with that and reported about it online. So, yeah, I would select stay in Treno, and then at least you're on the same page that I am regardless. Now, if you did make that same choice as I did, moving into the next area will give us two ATE choices, Hippo's Prize and Memories by the Water. We're just going to go for Memories by the Water for now, and we'll do Hippo's Prize in a moment. So after that one, in order to get Hippo's Prize to show up again, just pop down here, and there it will be. And now we're going to the card stadium, and our first ATE in this area is simply called City People. Unfortunately, for some more ATEs, we do have to engage in the car tournament. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a save here in case I screw up. And since I've got a terrible set of cards, I probably will. The good news is we only have to win the first two games. Back at the car tournament, simply speak to the dude to get into the competition at the desk, and then just run through the door to begin the first match. That first round is fairly simple, so it shouldn't take you too many attempts. Once you've gone ahead and won that, there's a little bit of dialogue, and then the next ATE, which is the good old days, will also become available. Now, it's very important during this ATE that you select the correct dialogue option, and that is, of course, I'm interested. You must select that, otherwise you will fail the whole trophy because the next ATE will not appear. Now, so long as you make that correct dialogue choice, moving into the next area will give you access to our next ATE, which is called Lessons of Life. And annoyingly, it's back to the card stadium where you have to win the second match. And this is annoying because it's a little bit tricky. It took me a few attempts, but as you can see, when I did win it, I pretty much slaughtered it. And that's with my terrible cards. I've just rushed through this playthrough for the purposes of this trophy, so had no good cards whatsoever to play with there. Anyway, once you've won that second round, two more ATEs will become available, Hallucination and Premonition. What worked for me was just watching Hallucination first, and then as soon as that was finished, moving into the next area where the Moogle is, and then watching Premonition when it pops up. And that's the final Treno ATE we need to watch in the entire game. So good job, folks. We're nearly done now. We're in the home stretch. Lindblum, and this is really the final, last sort of tricky area in terms of ATEs. So once Zidane wakes up in the guest room, you can go and create your new save file, but don't get too close to the steps going down until you're ready to trigger this cutscene. Now, during this cutscene, you once again need to select the correct dialogue option, and in this instance, it is Where's Dagger? Okay, that's what you need to choose, and once you've done that, you can go ahead and leave the guest room, but do not return at all until you need to later on, otherwise you're going to screw up another ATE. So, once you've left here, you're going to go ahead and play your next, or your first ATE for this area, which is called Something Washed Ashore. This will only play if you've watched the Hallucination ATE in Treno. And after this, and then we're going to head over to the lift and ride the lift to the upper level. Now, once we're at the upper level, the goal is to get to Dagger, who is found at the telescope. So in order to get there, we need to head up more steps. Now, whatever you do, don't head towards the throne area. Okay, if you do that, you're going to mess up another ATE. So just follow the path that I'm taking here. Try not to take any detours. And we should find Dagger right at the top of this section. There's going to be a cutscene with her, and then the ATE should become available to us. And that ATE is called My Bad. Following this, we can head into the throne room for the next set of cutscenes, which will also include two forced ATEs, Self-Reproach and Deep Anger, both of which will add to our 79 ATEs required for the trophy. Nice. After this, head back to the guest room for more cutscenes. That will take you back to the throne room, and when you leave the throne room, another ATE, my hammer. Now, story-wise, we're at the part where we need to collect the 3 potions to help Sid. So we're going to head to the business district. We need to speak to Alice in the shopping square in order to get the potion. And while we're here, we're going to prepare for the future ATE that requires us to have less than 50 gil. Now, I'm just going to head into the weapon shop and just buy loads of stuff. Now, you can also go to the item shop to buy, like, potions if you can't quite get the totals right. But you do need to have under 50 gil. Really important, or you will not be able to get the ATE trophy. Next up, we're going to the theatre district. Now, once you first exit the air cab terminal, you should see the family that we rescued earlier on in Burmecia. Now, if you didn't do that, as I instructed you to, you are going to miss out on this ATE, thus ending your progress attempt at the trophy. But so long as you did, as I instructed you to, saw that cutscene saving the Burmecian family, then you will get the ATE that follows here. After this, you may as well grab the second potion for the quest by heading into Michael's studio, speaking to him, and then picking up the potion itself from the left-hand side of the screen. Next up, head to the Tantalus hideout. A cutscene will play out. You'll end up with the third and final potion, but more importantly, do not go inside to loot the gil. If you do that, that will push you over the 50 gil limit. That's going to then prevent you from seeing that future trophy I mentioned earlier on. It's coming up soon as well. So with those potions, head back to Sid for more cutscenes, and once we're finished with them, we can simply leave the throne room here, the royal chambers, and our next ATE, which is called Free Lunch, or No Free Lunch, will become available involving Quina. And for this final ATE, you want to use the air cab to reach the business district. You must do this before boarding the Blue Narcissus ship, and from here, head into the next screen where there will be a cutscene that plays out involving Quina not being able to pay for the pickle that's just been munched upon. And if you have more than 50 gil at this point, then you will be able to pay for that pickle, and that's going to prevent this ATE from coming up. Presuming you've done everything correctly, head to the base level, go to the Serpent's Gate. The ship will be waiting along with our final ATE for this area, at least for now. There's 2 more in Lindblum a little bit later on, but before that, we've got a whole load of story to get through. Now you just need to basically proceed through the game for, well, ages, quite frankly, and eventually you'll find yourself back in Lindblum, just waking up in the guest room, and if you make your way to the upper level, head towards the throne room area, and a bunch of cutscenes will play out, including 2 forced ATEs. They are Team and Recovery. You can't miss those 2, though. Doing so well, folks. So close to the end of this trophy now. We are going to make our way over to Bran Bal here, which is quite a bit further into the story. And when you get here, don't worry about anything until you actually get to take control of Aiko. Once she's the main party leader, that's when you need to focus on the next 4 ATEs. The first of which becomes available immediately after the first cutscene with her being in control, and it's called A Place to Call Home. Then we just need to take Aiko out of the inn, and the next ATE, which is called Where the Heart Is, becomes available. And then once we've finished with this one, just continue over to the right-hand side of Bran Bal, and the third of 4 ATEs will become available, Came Into This World. And then finally, we just need to head into this room here to the north for the 4th ATE of this area, and that is called The Truth. And once you've watched these 4, only 1 more to go, and we are finally done with this. And this final ATE can be achieved in Pandemonium. So once you reach this area, it's a little bit of the ways in, you're going to activate this device, which is going to show you a mini version of the lift we're about to encounter in the next room. But what you want to do is go ahead and interact with this device and set the number to 0. Okay? And once you've done that, head over to the screen on the left-hand side, and that's going to show you the actual lift. And we're going to try and board it from 3 points. Now, each time we do this, we're going to be knocked back by a force field. That's exactly what we want to happen. So this is the first point here. Okay, and once we've done that, we're going to head around to the other side to the second point. And then up the ramp here to the third point. And once we've been knocked back by all 3 force fields, we're going to head back to the previous area and interact with that device once more. And this time we're going to set the number to number 2. So changing it from 0 to 2. And with it set to 2, we're going to return to the previous area once more and follow exactly the same process. So those 3 points, trying to activate the lift and getting knocked back by the force field each time. And the hard work's done now, okay? Just head back to the room with the miniature version of the lift with the device, and there'll be a cutscene with our party members. So we'll play through that, and then all we need to do is go back to that area with the actual lift itself. Okay, are you ready, guys? Are you ready for this active time event? The elevator, let's play it. And there we have it, the Movie Critic trophy. A lot of hard work, a bit of a grind, but there it is. It's a nice silver trophy to add to your collection and one less to get for the platinum. So big congrats to all of you folks that have worked hard and managed to get that. Hopefully this video has helped you to do so. If it has, please don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for future Final Fantasy Guide content. But thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.